we'd call it, that has just been reported to have happened in Iran. Now, there's not much information on this, but we have some photographs and some video footage that were submitted to MUFON, along with some other online UFO reporting databases, purporting to show the Iranian military firing anti-aircraft guns at an unknown object that was seen maneuvering and hovering high above them in the skies over Tehran. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of separate clips here, and the first clip you're going to see is what shows the best view of this UFO, which looks sort of like a white reflective orb of some sort. You will also see the anti-aircraft gun being fired, as well as some of the military men pointing up at this thing, and what looks to be, trying to figure out what this thing was. And then you will see one last shot where the UFO is a little bit harder to see, but we will slow it down and zoom it in, where you'll actually see this thing moving through the sky, and you'll see these anti-aircraft shells flying past it, and then exploding in midair. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and play each clip one after the other, and then we'll go ahead and break it down here in a second.
اونجا رو نگاه کن می‌بینی داره میترکه آقا با این مسلسل بزرگ
Alright, so this was emailed to me, and the footage was submitted again to some online reporting databases. Now, the only details that were written about this was that it was captured and recorded in the Tehran province of Iran. This happened on the 16th, and the only summary here that I can find says, and I quote, "An orb object in Tehran city sky was fired on by air defense military." So, as you just saw in this footage here, this first view we have is of the object. It's a close-up view. We can see this thing just sort of hovering there for a few seconds, and then it starts maneuvering. It starts jetting over to the left and then moving quickly to the right, after which the footage cuts to a cameraman who is recording across a couple of these buildings where we see the anti-aircraft gun positioned on the roof of an adjacent building being fired at this UFO. As you're seeing here, they look completely dumbfounded as to what they're looking at. Then we go to this piece of footage here, which I am actually increasing the contrast and the color as best that I can so we can make out the UFO. And just to go ahead and point it out here, I'm circling the UFO here. It's this little white reflective light that's in the center of the screen. That is the object. And as we play this, you'll start to see hundreds of these other little white specks flying by, which are the anti-aircraft rounds. And what these rounds do is they explode in the sky in one large group. And that is how they down aircraft, enemy aircraft. But it would seem that they are not able to hit this thing, because these rounds are definitely missing the mark, and the UFO is seen being recorded The cameraman then pans back over to the anti-aircraft rounds that look to be exploding a couple of 100 feet away from the object. So we definitely have an unidentified object here. And it's obviously low enough in the sky not to be a drone, because if you know about the United States surveillance drones, they fly at such a high altitude, you don't even know they're there. They are equipped with high-powered cameras with zoom lenses that allow them to fly miles high without being seen. And so what we have here is something much lower to the ground. And we actually have a photograph of the object that was also submitted along with the video. You're seeing that photograph here. And we'll go ahead and zoom in here. So this looks to be the object or objects in question. We have two here. We have what looks like a white object, and then we have a darker, more reflective object. Now, I'm not sure if the UFO is actually the darker object, and this white thing here is actually an anti-aircraft shell exploding near it, or if this is part of the actual UFO. But it's definitely strange, and with this view, we can see obviously that, there's no drone that is comprised of two parts like this. Obviously not an aircraft of any kind. We see no wings. Does not look like a helicopter, anything like that. And obviously they are firing on this thing. They have no idea what it is. So again, this is a breaking story. I'm trying to dig up some more information. If we have any viewers out of Iran, please be sure to send me an email, because this is very, very interesting, and I'd like to figure out what is going on, what the object was, and yeah, just like to know more about it. So I want to go ahead and talk about some other UFO footage that we have received. Here is a piece that was recently emailed to me out of Colorado, so check this out.
At the plane flying right there. That's like the triangle right there. Yeah. It's so weird. And then there's two up here that are leading them. Yeah. I don't know if you can see them. But it's so weird. They're just like flying in a circle in a triangle. Either that or that's like a giant spaceship. I don't know. That's so cool. Tip story there. Fourth one, some got stuck behind the trees or disappeared. I don't know. Trust.
Alright, so this was emailed to me by a woman named Desiree. Said that her and a friend were outside and looked up and saw what looked to them like a big flying triangle that was also being surrounded by what looked like airplanes or helicopters that were flying around it, which is plain to see. We actually do see what looks like an aircraft flying by this thing, and we have another formation of these lights in the sky. Certainly nothing new. We've been seeing these everywhere. In fact, they've been ramping up. These formations, usually in the form of triangles or just two lights. Often we'll get two single lights that seem to maneuver together and fly in unison. But the triangular formation we've also seen many times before, most notably during the 1997 Phoenix Lights incident. And so there's a question of whether these belong to one large craft or if these are separate crafts altogether. Anybody over Colorado who saw this and has any more footage or information, definitely please send me an email. Now, before we end today's video, I want